Springboard Roadshow Foundation, in partnership with the Mastercard Foundation and Solidaridad, present CoRe, the COVID-19 Recovery and Resilience Program.
Hello, everyone. Today I have the privilege to take us through a very interesting topic entitled Effective Communication. So take out your workbooks, take out your sheets of paper, take out your notebooks. You're going to do a lot of work today. And so basically the session is aiming at some critical things. 1, 2, explaining the different processes involved in effective communication. And then we are also aiming to help you communicate effectively within a workspace, because this is all about using the skills during these sessions to apply them within your workstation. So by the end of it, we are hoping that you would be able to identify at least 5 ways of communicating effectively. 5. And how you would apply that in your workspaces, and then understand how to apply 3 basic principles of effective communications within different scenarios. And then interpreting 3 different scenarios we'll give to you. Are you excited? Are you ready? Okay. For your first assignment, take out your sheets. Take out any sheets of paper, notebooks, anything that you may have, and your pens. And then write down as many words that come to you when you're trying to define the word communicate. You just have a few seconds. So put those words down. I'm sure you are through thinking about how, what is it about communication, what it stands for, what are the pillars. Now, I'm sure that by then you've written some very key words that come to you. And these key words that you've written are basically things around talking, words, what else comes to mind? People, books, exchanging ideas, information. Put those sheets down. Just put those sheets down. Put it aside. And then take a look at the picture that is right here on the screen. Imagine you are the one on that stretcher being moved. If you are not being moved, something is moving you out. And accidentally you found yourself out of the ambulance that is speeding and taking you somewhere. And then you see that the person, or you hear that the person is saying, "No, I thought I told you to close the door properly." But then you find yourself out. So the question I want to ask you is, what from this picture, imagine you are the one, and let me show you that picture. I'm sure you can see the picture on the screen, and from the picture on the screen, you want to ask yourself that question that I'm saying again. From what you've heard the driver saying in that cabin, what do you think has caused the situation that you found yourself in? How will you end? And what does it tell you about communication? Those 3 things. Put your answers down. So basically, those things and that situation is just telling you about the definitions of communication. And the definitions of communication, 1, as we can see on the screen, is about imparting or the interchanging of thoughts, opinions, information by speech, writing, or signs. I like the dictionary.com definition. Then you can move on to another one that talks to you about basically things around activity or process of expressing your ideas, feelings, etc. But what is most important that I want us to take away is the fact that communication involves 3 components, 3 major components: the sender, the channel through which it is being received or sent, and then the receiver. So the sender sends or imparts information, sounds, symbols through a peculiar mechanism, and then somebody at the other end needs to decode it. Okay, so that's what the person is receiving. But if it is not done properly, especially where there is a challenge between who is sending it and how that person sends that information, and how the person on the other side decodes it or hears and listens to it. And there is noise in between. So the medium, we'll talk about what it means, it becomes an issue. So it is a two-way process of exchanging messages between sender and the receiver through various mediums. And then the most important thing to say communication has happened is that there is understanding and shared meaning. And then you can use any medium. So the medium could be your phone, text messaging, writing letters, memos, talking face to face, or any other communication to Zoom, Skype, etc. And then we need to know that certain three key things have to happen. Message has to be sent and received. There should be two, interpretation, and it should be understood. Now, take a look at that photograph again. That shows you, it demonstrates how you see the person who sends it and the person who receives it. And then the medium is in between. And then if, unfortunately, there happens to be some noise, so some influence, you're getting a lot of noises in between. The sound that is going doesn't sound familiar, and then the person is just hearing and not listening. It can cause a bit of a challenge. It can cause a bit of a challenge. So having said that, I want us to do an exercise. The exercise is take that picture and then tell us how effectively those two personalities you see are indeed communicating effectively. But how can they do that? One is barking and the other is mewing. Will shared understanding occur? Will it? I believe not. But to get to that point, we want to understand what effective means. If you say something is effective, something is happening appropriately. It is producing one successful result. Successful result. And that is according to Oxford Learner's Dictionary. And so effective communication, therefore, is producing successful results through the expression, you're using an expression of ideas, information from a sender to a receiver using the appropriate medium. So go back to what is on the board now. Take 2 seconds to appreciate what it is and understand the key words that are coming up from there. The key words are results, expression of ideas and information. You're looking at from sender to receiver. You're looking at using appropriate medium, and most importantly, understanding should occur. Now, having done that, you understand that, it includes so many things. It can be verbal, that's what you are hearing. The sounds, the symbols, you can see symbols as they are written, or non-verbal. So those are the silent ones, the body language, the colors, the perfume somebody uses to get into a room, or the body odor that comes into a room and all. Those are all things you need to be mindful of when you are within the workstation. So now imagine yourself going into an office. How would you want to communicate who you are to someone without writing it? How would you want someone to appreciate you without writing it? Just put that down, because that is your main mantra that you're going to use in the work station. And so I am just making sure that we start with some key major things. You remember we say you would learn some key principles. And one of those principles is listening. Now, listening is not hearing sounds. There's a difference between how you hear and making sure that you listen. So take some time and try and see if you can put your radio onto the CoRe, a different station, and then ask yourself, what are you hearing? Are you hearing sounds, as in musical notes? Is someone walking? Do you hear cars passing by? Those are sounds. And then listening is, what do those things interpret, mean to you? So as you hear the the footsteps coming, is it a footstep that looks like somebody in distress? Because as you hear it, it's either moving too fast. So when you have the whole body listening, you have the eyes, you focus your eyes on people. Your feet remain quiet. You don't start shuffling your feet, stamping, and doing all sorts of things, or tapping your feet or shaking your legs. You make sure your ears are tuned in towards what you are listening to or what you are communicating to others. Your body language, you're facing the person, but you're making sure that you don't intimidate people. You're going into your office. You don't put your hands on your waist this way. Neither do you slouch on your desk this way. You don't speak down to people. All those things are things you want to think about. Your mouth should be such that it articulates, and the sound and tone and texture should be helpful. Your brain should be thinking about what is being said, not in a hurry to go above what the other person is saying. And then you should be caring about what somebody else is interested in telling you, or in the office. How would you know what is behind the thought of giving you that task? And your hands must be quiet. Now, so effective communication. Think about your content of your message. It shouldn't be abusive. It shouldn't be lewd. It shouldn't be cracking jokes that are dirty. Jen asamna epede ka ho. Hwe what's the bio na wo bobia. Wonterhye ena nsam na ofi we num ba. Ehwe obi na enyim so a hwe na enyim ye. Nye da be hwe na enyim to de obi nyoro kasa. Na hwe na ahoba. Wadwe na nda nyimpa no do. Waswa no so ye wadwe nde eririye sutse ina eritse asam na oreka. Enye de sound beautiful waso mekeke. De enwom beautiful waso mekeke. Now, you also think about the audience. Who are you speaking to? If it is to your boss, the vocabulary is different. If it's to a supervisor, it's different. If it's to a colleague, it's different. If it's within a meeting, a formal meeting, it's different. Connect your ideas with clarity, confidence, empathy. Language, take advantage of free time to improve your command. Make sure your subject-verb agreement is great. And then give feedback. Give feedback. It is important this time that you all focus on effective communication. Oh here papa. Osande sisian iyezin baby ara yezin to biara humpo. Wana no obo hu de hie adwuma. Ana wana no obo hu de azare yen ohia na do onye. Intinom ekwana be fodo na miss me ba kan sam ohia papa. Kasa no so sien ye. Now, how you need to connect and sell your ideas are very important. Build and maintain those relationships within your circles. They are very, very critical. Build and maintain them. Now, take some time to now write your brand and see what you stand for. Until next week, it's bye-bye.
A presentation of CoRe, the COVID-19 Recovery and Resilience Program.
Back to the basics. I brought one up, but we're down so